Good day everyone, my name is Jessica Harris from XIII and I will discuss the strategic control which is part of monitoring and control. Strategic control deals with monitoring the strategy after it has been executed in the organization. Strategic control does provide the organization the ability to monitor the progress of the strategy implementation, to identify any flaws, and to take necessary correction in the implementation of the strategy. There are 6 processes of strategic control. First is to determine what to control. The first thing to be decided that the organization wants to keep track of and control. These are normally decided based on the objectives, mission, vision, and the goal settings done as a result of planning. It is necessary for managers to decide what they must control because it is not possible to monitor and control every activity. It is very necessary that the top management is fully committed to the process of strategic control and that it communicates clearly to the rest of organization. Without the involvement of top management, strategic control will not be successful. Second is set control standard. Once the organization has decided what it wants to control, the next step is to set standard. Standard represent the benchmark against which the organization can measure its current performance, define future targets, and also evaluate historical performances. They can be both quantitative and qualitative. The 5 bases on which standards are set are quantity, quality, time, cost, and behavior. Each of these need to be further analyzed for establishment of control standards. The third one is measure performance. The next step is to actually measure the output or performance and compare against the standard. This measurement can differ from case to case. It could be a normal observation of some events, whereas in other it may involve detailed analysis. They can also be based on some historical standard. The standards are based on the performance in the best of the companies in the industry. The rapid growth of computers and IT has also made it possible for managers to access latest and most analytical performance reports. This should be analyzed carefully by managers and should form the basis for concrete action. Fourth, compare performance to standard. Next, the actual performance is compared to the standard set. If the earlier stages are done properly and systematically in the organization, then the actual comparison of the performance and the standard is a very easy process. They can be problem especially if some the standard pertain to behavioral aspect. The measurement in these cases can often be impacted by extraneous variables which are beyond the control of the organization. Fifth is determine the reason of deviation. Once the divergence is seen in the actual performance and the standards, the next step is to understand why the divergence has been caused. The organizations need to examine if the shortfall in achievement is due to genuine shortcomings in the internal factors of the organization or because of external events which are not possible for the organization to control. Last is to take corrective actions. The last step in this process is to initiate remedial action. Making no change is advisable when no significant deviation is seen between the actual performance and the standard. When the deviation is significant, then managers need to decide on a course of action. The remedial action is dependent on what kinds of deviation are seen and what kind of autonomy the managers have to take remedial action. The deviation could be because of many reasons. It could be because of faulty strategy, design, or wrong implementation. Each of these requires a different action plan by the organization. 4 types of strategic control. First is premise control. The assumption of the planning process are set in the first stage of strategic planning. Premise control tries to examine if the assumptions which were made in the initial stages of the strategic planning exercise still hold good. Every strategy is founded on certain assumptions relating to environmental and organizational forces. Certainly, some of these forces or factors are very sharp, and any change in them is sure to affect the strategy to a great extent. Hence, premise control is a must to identify the key postulation and keep track of any change in them in order to assess their impact on strategy and therefore its implementation. 2. Implementation control. In order to implement a chosen strategy, there is a need for preparing quite good number of plans, programs, and projects. Again, resources are allocated for implementing these plans, programs, and projects. This purpose of implementation control is to evaluate as to whether these plans, programs, and projects are actually guiding the organization towards its predetermined goals or not. Third is strategic surveillance. If premise and implementation strategic controls are more specific by nature, strategic surveillance is more generalized and overriding control, which is designed to monitor a broad range of events both inside and outside the organization, which are likely to threaten the very course of a firm strategy. Last is special alert control. This special alert control is based on a trigger mechanism for a rapid response and immediate reassessment of a given strategy in the light of a sudden and unexpected event. Special alert control can be exercised via the formulation of contingency strategies and assigning the responsibility of handling unforeseen events to crisis management teams. The instances of such sudden and unexpected events can be, say, sudden fall of government at center or even state, terrorist attack, industrial disaster, or any natural calamity of earthquake, floods, fire, and so on. That's all. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jessamine Upasha. I'm going to report about financial projections. So, what is financial forecasting? Financial forecasting refers to the financial projections performed to facilitate any decision making relevant for determining future business performance. The financial forecasting process includes the analysis of past business performance, current business trends, and other relevant factors. Financial projection shows the expected revenues, expenses, and cash flow of a business over a forecast period. This forecast may be used internally as the basis for a more detailed budget, or it may be presented to outsiders. In the latter case, a financial projection may be used to convince a lender to provide a business with a loan or investors to buy shares in the firm. A financial projections is based on a combination of historical results, expectations for changes in the relevant market, and other changes in the circumstances of the business, such as an investment in a new product line. What is the importance of financial forecasting? Hypothetically speaking, failure to conduct regular financial forecasting leaves you flying blind. Regular forecasting has extensive benefits for some of your business fundamental operation, including annual budget planning. So first is annual budget planning. A budget represents your business cash flow, financial positions, and future goals and expectations for a set fiscal period. Financial forecasting and planning work in tandem, as forecasting essentially offers an insight into your business future. This insight helps you make budgeting accurately. Second is establishing realistic business goals. Accurate forecasting will help predict whether and by how much your business will grow or decline. As such, you can set realistic and achievable goals and manage your expectation. Third is identifying problem areas. Financial forecasting can help you identify ongoing problems by analyzing the business past performance. Additionally, you can identify potential problem by getting an insight into what the future holds. Fourth is reduction of financial risk. You risk overspending by creating a budget without financial forecasting. In fact, most of your financial decisions would be ill-informed without the input of a financial forecast results. And lastly is greater company appeals to attract investors. Investors use a company's financial forecast to predict its future performance and the potential ROIs on their investments. Additionally, regular forecasting shows your investors that you are in a control and have a solid business plan prepared for the future. So, here's the common types of financial forecasting. Businesses conduct financial forecasting for varying purposes. Forecasting practices are categorized into four types. First is sales forecasting. Sales forecasting entails predicting the amount of products, services you expect to sell within a projected fiscal period. There are two sales forecasting methodologies: top-down forecasting and bottom-up forecasting. Sales forecasting has many uses and benefits, including budgeting and planning production cycles. It also helps companies manage and allocate resources more efficiently. Second is cash flow forecasting. Cash flow forecasting entails estimating the flow of cash in and out of the company over a set fiscal period. It based on the factors such as income and expenses. It has many usage and benefits, including identifying immediate funding needs and budgeting. However, it is worth noting that cash flow financial forecasting is more accurate over a short term. Third is budget forecasting. As a financial guide to your business future, a budget creates certain expectation about your company's performance. Budget forecasting aims to determine the ideal outcome of the budget, assuming that everything proceeds as planned. It relies on the budget data, which relies on financial forecasting data. And lastly is income forecasting. Income forecasting entails analyzing the company's past revenue performance and current growth rate to estimate future income. It is integral to doing cash flow and balance sheets forecasting. Additionally, the company's investors, suppliers, and other concerned third parties use this data to make crucial decisions. For example, suppliers use it when they want to determine how much to credit the company in supplies. So for the conclusion is the financial projections are a decision-making tool for the management and creditors. It is concise financial model that shows forecast basis the estimate as determined by the administration itself. It may be used by lender and creditors to base their investment decisions. That's all. Thank you.